sealed package. So the basic difference is that this we say that this list array is inside a local scope. This can only be accessed. This list array can only be accessed inside the function. That's why if I change this stuff, I should be changing this. So that's why anything, any sort of loop, any sort of variables, any sort of other arrays can actually access this list if they are inside the package. So if anything that's contained inside the local scope can actually access any other elements or any other constructs inside the same package. But your function, but anything outside this package or anything outside this function cannot access the elements or cannot access the contents that's stored inside the package or a specific function, which means that everything inside this function's body is inside a local scope. So this is like a city, and this global scope, this entire thing is like a country. So this city, so everything that's contained inside this function is like a city, obviously, and everything that's contained outside this function definition is inside a nation, but not inside the city. So essentially, you see two sorts of statements in here. Let me get back to my previous instance. So you see essentially two different stuff in here. One is that both of them are functions, but both of them have two different types of notations, or both of them have two different languages, or two different grammars. In the first one, it is this thing from line 13 to line 25. If you close this up and if you open this up, this entire thing is known as the function definition. And this thing in here is known as the function call. You're calling the function. And what we mean by this function definition is that you define everything that's going to go inside the function, which means because we consider this function to be a package, you are putting all the contents of that package before sealing that package off. So this function definition will obviously need to contain the keyword function followed by the name and followed by the parentheses. Nothing is optional in here. You need to include all of them. And then finally, it is followed by the curly braces, the starting curly brace and the ending curly brace. And inside this curly braces, you need to define all the functionality of that function. You need to define all the features of that function. So this is like a definition. So this is like a definition of the function. So whenever you have finished off putting all your content inside this package, you are good to ship that package to someone who needs it. So inside programming, if we try to call this thing again and again, we do not need to type this array again. We do not need to type this loop again. We just need to call the name of the function. So likewise, if we include something like this, so this BR tag is essentially, I want to, let me just show you, for instance, that, let me save this first. Let me get back to my browser. Okay, I guess there is a mistake. Okay, the loop. I need to change this. Now I'm good to go. So you see that it's printing out the list. So what I want to do right now is that I want to print this list again. I want to do all this. I want to show this list again on my web page. So what I need to do is that I don't need to I don't need to define this array again. I don't need to write that array again. I don't need to write this loop again. All I need to do is just to call the function's name. And at the end of the function's name, because this is a statement, this is a complete statement, you need to add a semicolon. Don't forget that. But whenever you're defining a function, you do not need to add a semicolon at the end of the function definitions body. So remember that. So let's save this. Let's get back to the browser. Let's refresh the page. So you see that whenever I call the function's name on line 27 for the first time, it's printing out this list. Then again, I have echoed out a BR tag, or I have included a white space, a new line in between those two. And then again, I'm calling the function again on line 29. So that function call on line 29 is producing the second list on my web page. So if you want to do that the third time, which means if you want to produce this list again for the third time, for the fourth time, all you need to do is you need to call or you just need to call the name of the function. You don't need to repeat all those steps again. So that's the greatest, or that's the biggest advantage of modular programming.